So moving on to 2-70, it says when adding the same number several times, multiplication can help. For example, if the tightrope walker moved 3 feet to the right, 3 feet, 3 feet, and then 3 feet, it's shorter to write 4 groups of 3 instead of 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3. Note that the parentheses are another way to show multiplication, and that's only if it touches. Use multiplication to write this expression right here, which is 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. So you're going to write this one right here using multiplication. Pause the video and do so now, please. So when I write this guy right here, I'm looking, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups of 0. Or 5 groups of 2. Holy cow. 5 groups of 2. Woo. It did not tell me to write what the value of that is, which of course I know. However, I'm just writing that as multiplication instead to make sure that I understand that 5 groups of 2 is different than 2 groups of 5. This is what I should have because I have 5 2s, and I see that right there. 2-71 I removed because we have this gnarly one right there. I didn't want to deal with the decimal. I'm sure you probably didn't want to either. It's not that it's unnecessary at this point, in my opinion. And so I chose to skip 271, and we're moving to 272. It says, imagine that Cecil the tightrope walker starts at point Bravo, so right here at point Bravo, and walks on the tightrope to point Alpha, shown right here. So right here, this is what he did. And it's asking, how should this be written? So with this, we're going to look at what are Cecil's movements? So he starts at Bravo right here, and he is moving to the left 3 feet. I show that with my numbers with having the opposite sign. So if I was to write this, again, my old school way, I would have the opposite of 3 plus 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 the opposite of 3. But is there another way that we could write it? And I hope at this point you would know what that would be. Our lesson's all about turning our addition into multiplication. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups of -3. So I write that as 5 groups of -3. That would be the other way I could write it. I'm going to put a semicolon there. I put an equal sign earlier today, and some kids got a little confused as far as expressions versus equations. And so I'll put a different symbol there because they are separate from one another. So the last part right here, it says, where does Cecil end up? Where does Cecil end up? Now, some students today say that he ended up at point A, but I would make the argument he didn't quite make it to point A, to point Alpha. So it's actually asking us, what's the value of all of that? And so I can look at that and I can calculate that either by adding all of these together or by multiplying. Either way it works. And he ended up at, Cecil ended at the opposite of 15 feet. And that's because he's going to the left.